Okay, guys, you were expecting it. I know you. The Blue Lagoon is open again, of course. And this was the fastest reopening ever of all these evacuations that they had. And you know, if you look at the website of the Icelandic Meteorological Office, how they're warning of gas pollution, and this gas pollution is bigger than the gas pollution that we had in the other eruptions, and it's all over the country. And heavy gas pollution also has been measured. You see, like, there's some atmospheric pictures. It has gone to England, it has gone to the Nordic countries, so it's not teeny tiny, and the eruption is still going and hasn't slowed down since yesterday. So why would they reopen? And the announcement, of course, they do it like they always do, that the police chief of Sudurs has said that it's okay. Basically, it's always, if something happens, it's his fault. I feel really sorry for the guy. And if you've seen my last video where Thorvaldur and some other guys predict that the whole event thing, that volcanic eruption cycle might end in July for good, and then they have released that they think after this eruption it's going to be dormant for a very long time again, basically the same time span that it was last time, roughly 800 years. And you were wondering, of course you were wondering, I saw your comments, well, why is that? Why do they have this conclusion? Does that really make sense? And then one of my viewers, and I love it, and why didn't I think of this? You are so right. You wrote me, well, probably those guys have been paid by the Blue Lagoon to say that, because then it's so safe to go back there if nothing's going to happen for the next 800 years. Yeah, right, guys? Oh. Well, it could be possible. You know, right now they seem to be so dependent of that place. And is this a good thing for a country, that this is such a major part of your GDP, that you have to really put tourists' lives at risk all the time? I don't understand it. And the thing is, it's not only me. And I want to read something to you what other countries seem to realize now about the Blue Lagoon, because if you've been watching this, like, they're tearing it out till the last second until the volcano erupts, and then they used to evacuate. This time the volcano did them a favor because there was more warning time. It seems the magma did need to grind or reopen the old tunnel from the magma chamber that's right underneath the Blue Lagoon and the Swartsengi power plant to the eruption site. And if the magma needs to grind, it comes with earthquakes. And then the more it needs to grind, the longer time of warning you have. So if the tunnel had been open as in previous eruptions, the warning time would have been 0 to nothing. And we've seen it in the evacuation videos that tourists did in the past. The sky was red, the eruption was in full force when the sirens were going off. People were still swimming in the pool, and then they did evacuate. So they never evacuated preemptive to say, hey, the scientists are saying it can happen any second, let's close that place down, so that people don't have to go through that. And now the same thing, while there's so much gas pollution in the area and the wind just needs to change a little bit, and poof, they have it, right? And they already had one of their own workers in the hospitals a few weeks back. They're claiming that they have more measurement instruments at the Blue Lagoon, but if those instruments tell you the gas pollution is there, it's already there. And then there's people in these very large pools. It takes a while until they can get out, and there's no gas masks or anything for them in that area. So I'm not the only one that starts. I've been wondering this for a very long time, basically since November. The ones that are with my channel for a long time, my regular viewers, you know that, guys. So I want to read something to you. It's a German page that talks about volcanic eruptions, and that guy, and I'll translate it to you, has been wondering what's going on. And that's Rudi. He also disagrees with what the Blue Lagoon is doing. So Volcano.net is writing in his blog, today the police chief of Sodorns, in whose area Grindavik is located, announced that the security situation at the Blue Lagoon has been reviewed. And I tell you guys, I really think this guy is being pressured. That's my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think. So he writes, it had been decided to reopen the thermal resort tomorrow. That's today, June 1st, and it is open. This is the fastest opening of the Blue Lagoon since the start of a volcanic eruption, and I wonder whether the potential gas pollution has not been underestimated. Well, they know exactly what the risk is. That's my opinion. Then he writes, there are still large amounts of lava on the move, and if the wind changes direction, you can quickly find yourself covered in gas at the Blue Lagoon. The economic pressure is obviously enormous. Despite the dangers, in brackets, or perhaps precisely because of them, the spa has been well attended in recent weeks. I have to say, many of these people who attend the spa don't know. The Icelandic television RUV itself has interviewed people who did go to the Blue Lagoon while it was open, while the eruption was going. They simply didn't know because it's not reported in other countries around the world that much. And if you're not a freak like us, you and me, that keep watching this all the time, you just simply don't know, because if you try to book on the Blue Lagoon website and you have to book to get there, there's nothing. There's nothing that tells you about this. And there's a little bit, but you have to find it and click your way through. So they're, in my opinion, intentionally try to put this under the rug. But let's continue what he says. So he thinks, that they underestimate the gas pollution. I don't think they do. They know exactly. They're just taking their chances. He says, on the morning that the eruption began, 800 people were evacuated. And then he says, if only 600 of these people were paying guests who had bought, let's say, the cheapest ticket for 70 euros. And we know there were hotel guests as well that had bought expensive hotel rooms and spa packages. So that's very conservative. That would have been a turnover of 42,000 euros for that day. And then he says, and that's a good point, considering that the only way to get to the Blue Lagoon is by bus and that many guests book day trips from Reykjavik, you can appreciate the importance of the resort for the region's economy and the country's tax revenue. And it's about 8 to 10% of the country's GDP. So he's wondering, does that make sense, what they're doing, right? And they're telling guests that they're not allowed to enter the eruption area from the Blue Lagoon's parking area, because that's what people have done in the past. And they even formed like a tourist gremium like a few weeks back when the old eruption was still going, the March 16th eruption. They wanted to build like a walking trail to get the people there to that eruption. And then the scientists were kind of like in the civil defense, no, are you crazy? That trail would basically go right over that underground magma tunnel that is feeding the eruption, and it could come up there at any time. And so I don't know what's the status there to build a parking lot and a walking trail. So right now, the police chief of Sodorns and the civil defense is saying we don't want anybody there at this eruption site, and especially because the gas pollution is so strong. And what else is new, guys? A quick update about the other stuff. Grindavik is basically isolated right now. So Grindavik has been flowed over by lava, and also Nesvegur. You can see RUV has posted an article about that, about the latest, what happened there. And there you can see how the road is definitely destroyed by the lava and not accessible. So only important personnel is in Grindavik, but people were allowed to get back there to get their belongings. But guys, let me know what you think. We've discussed this a lot in the past, but it seems the Blue Lagoon always puts a little cherry on top of everything they've already been doing. So let me know about that. There'll be an update about Campiflegrei as well very soon, so stay tuned. If you're new here, guys, please subscribe. Please leave this video a like. And guys, thank you so much for the coffees that you've been buying me on my buymeacoffee.com website. The link is in the description of this video. A few of you have been asking, where can I find that site? It's always in the description. I'll post some stuff there, and thanks for the supers. This is just additional help. You know, I'm trying to support my farm with that. So the animals appreciate it very much, and I appreciate it a lot. Of course, I always have a coffee next to me. I want to show you this time today. I got some other caffeine fix. I got a matcha tea latte, so I'll try this because I already had so much coffee today. So thanks for this, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.